Welcome to Tashkent 2014, one of the preliminary tournaments leading up to the candidates final for the World Championship Challenger. It's in a series of FIDE Grand Prix series. A lot of great players in here, but especially for me is my buddy Carl Nakamura is in it, and I hope Carl does well. Anyway, folks, FIDE Grand Prix Series, Tashkent 2014. Games coming up. Here are the standings after 7 rounds in the current leg of the FIDE Grand Prix Series in Tashkent. Andreikin from Russia and my buddy Carl Nakamura from the U.S. are in first with 4.5. Jobava, Lagrave, and Mamadjarov with 4. In second, Rajabov, Caruana, Yakovenko, Karyakin with 3.5. Giri with 3. And Kasimdzhanov and Gelfand with 2. So far, that's the results through round 7. Go, Carl. Hi, folks. John Cordisco back again. Round 7 of this leg of the FIDE Grand Prix in Tashkent. Boy, I'll tell you, looking okay for my buddy from the USA, Carl Nakamura. This is a game he played in. Kasimdzhanov, who I believe was FIDE world champion at one time as white, and Carl Nakamura from the United States as black. Let's get to it. It's going to be a Dutch, which means it's kind of like, to me, a King's Indian, which means you're playing to win as black. And then Carl's going for it, I think. G3, G6. We'll just go through the moves here. I kind of like the Dutch. It leads for really fascinating games. C4, D6. According to the computer, I'm not a big expert on the Dutch, but this is the Leningrad Dutch system, for those of you that are wondering. Knight C3, C6. It kind of stops anything to go on the B5 square, or the D5 square for that matter. Pawn, Knight A6, Knight B2, Queen C7. Computer calls for a Knight C7, and I was kind of thinking that when I went over this game when Nakamura went Knight A6, that was his plan. But he went Queen to C7 instead. I'm not sure on that move, to be honest with you, but I don't know much about the Dutch, so who am I to criticize? D5, E5. Nakamura pushes right through. So which pawn does the D pawn take? E6 or C6? And of course he took the center pawn. Bishop takes E3. And I like Naka's position already. I know according to the computer, and I happen to agree, not that I'm a genius or anything, but I think white is equalized already, and we're on move 12. Pretty good, especially at this level. Rook A to D8, Knight D2, Rook F to E8, and Knight to F4. That's a good spot for that knight. Really good spot. So Nakamura's got a choice. Do you give up the light squared bishop, or do you move him? He decided to move him back to C8, which is the only decent square for him, to be honest with you. Rook to C1, Knight to C5. Finally, that knight gets into play from A6. B4 to chase him off. The knight goes up to E4. That's a really good spot for that knight. Even if this knight moves and this bishop eventually takes, this knight could just take his place. B5. Knight goes back to C5. Now, interesting. I don't know why I made that move. Computer likes G5, to be honest with you, kicking the knight. Then we get in a lot of kind of King's Indian craziness where all the king pawns move. That'd probably be a lot more exciting, but Knight to C5 for a Carl, and Queen to C2. Now the other knight comes up. He decided to trade knights. I think what he really wanted to do was get rid of this bishop, or vice versa. Bishop at D4. Now Nakamura is not going to take that. Couple of reasons. Knight's a good spot for the knight. The knight takes, and the pawns just look really strong. So he just goes queen f7 and just leaves it. Computer likes bishop takes g7, queen takes g7. Kasimdzhanov decided to go rook after d1. I like that move as well. Bishop d7. Queen to b2. Now, interestingly enough, I don't know if anybody has noticed, we're on move 21, and there's only 2 pawns missing in total. So out of the 32 total pieces used to start, there's still 30 on the board on move 21. Pretty interesting. Bishop f8 leads for a lot of maneuvering. Computer like g5, and after knight to d3, c takes, or at least the computer thought it was interesting, c takes, g4. It still shows even, but Carl's an attacking player. I'm surprised he didn't go that way. Bishop f8, h5, h6. Just putting a lock on a g5 square. Bishop takes, knight takes. That's the first minor piece trade. Still have 14 pawns on the board. It's pretty crazy. Queen a3. Knight to e4. Now this, just sometimes you get positions like this where I wouldn't even know what the hell to do on either side. I don't know. Is black easier to play? I like his advanced pawns, even though they're in front of his king, but I like that. I like the fact that white's queen's on a3 if I'm black. If he had taken instead, c takes, b6, bishop f1, and that's a big deal for white. According to the computer, it's almost a pawn and a 3/4 advantage. So knight to e4, queen a5. He's just trying to get maybe the queen back in the game somehow through here. I'm not really sure. Once he kicks that knight off of e4. g5, here we go. B takes, bishop takes, knight to d5. Now, that is the computer's choice as well. The other one was h takes g5. After h takes, knight to d5. Knight to d5 right away. b6 hitting the queen. Queen goes back to a3, which makes a lot more sense. I think there's a good spot here for the queen is here as well. Bishop g7, h takes, knight d4. Still shows the game is almost even. I think Naka might have had something going there, and I think any chance he had at really opening this thing up and really making it crazy, I think is gone now. I'm not sure where it was. Maybe some of you can go over the game a little more thoroughly and try to find out. Bishop takes, c takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, f4. Not as good as queen takes and rook c7. That I don't like for black at all. But after f4, rook c2, rook e7, rook e2, knight f6, rook takes, queen takes, g takes, knight h5. And here, oddly enough, they called it a draw. Interesting. And the computer bears that out. It's a minute advantage for white. But those 2 sets of double pawns, I don't know. Play on, maybe? Who's to say? Anyway, folks, that's the game from round 7. I hope you enjoyed it. Very interesting game with a weird ending. And I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.